Scorpio 28. The king of the fairies approaching his domain. Strange image. The outer world is governed by people more powerful than we are. We cannot control it. We can moderate the extent to which we're under somebody else's control, certainly, but we cannot really control the outer world as much as we'd like to. But we can control the inner world entirely. In this sense, in the fairy world of our imagination, we're the sovereign. King or queen is the same. We're the ones that make up the inner reality that we live with. And it's a very subtle but profound teaching that whatever we do with the mind, whatever we make up as our perception of reality, our expectation of what is to come, our interpretation of events, whatever we allow to shape the mind, this is externalized, inevitably, not necessarily immediately, probably not immediately. There's no obvious, I think this so I get that relationship. It's much more subtle and hidden than that. But we must have faith that that is the case. We get what is fair. And the rule is that whatever you allow to shape your mind is where you're going. That's how it works. So how do you shape the mind? Well, by thinking. So if you think, I'm in trouble, the future holds misery for me, there will be war, there will be hunger. If you think those things, that's what shapes your mind to expect those things. And if you expect those things, you will attract those things in one way or another. Not necessarily the detailed specifics of your imagination, but the feeling behind those specifics, the energy of your expectations. That energy has a quality of magnetism, and it magnetizes to you everything of that quality. So if you want something to improve in your life, then you have to train your mind towards the expectation of it. This is especially important in the days to come. Now, in the days to come, we will be struggling to deal with climate change. The possibility of reversing each of the implications of climate change has gone. It's too late. It's already happened. Communities have already lost their homes. Animals have already become extinct. Forests have already been burned down. It would take generations to replace. We're already in there. And there's a lot of other things that have happened, perhaps equally or more serious than climate change. The world is facing something rather serious. But that doesn't mean that you are, not personally. It really doesn't. Even if Armageddon is upon us, it doesn't mean that you have to suffer. In fact, it could mean the exact opposite. It could mean that until that quality of threat comes into your life, there's not enough to trigger the best in you, the clearest, the more optimistic part of you, the more powerful part of you may only be triggered by those kind of events. It's only possible to have a miracle when a miracle is required. And each of us has the possibility of becoming an agency through which miracles can occur. Now, the silver lining to put on this dark appraisal of our future is this, that I need there to be dark times ahead if I am to perfect my own light. I cannot develop my light except in the presence of darkness. And that's actually the case. We can't do that. So a part of who I am needs to put myself a little bit in harm's way in order to develop the ability to cope with being in harm's way. the part of the mind that we shape in order to walk into the darkness with faith is that part that registers faith, the highest. If we expect to be able to develop enough faith to carry us through this next chapter of humanity's history, then we will develop enough faith to do that. Faith responds to that kind of exercise. Now, faith is a choice. It's a decision that we make. It's not a gift. It's not an arising. Nobody can make you have faith. You won't uncover it accidentally. You decide to have it. You choose in every situation to see the silver lining, to look for a positive outcome, to expect, even if you get some bad news, some really terrible bad news, even then you look within that dark scenario for a glimmer of light, the light at the end of the tunnel, and you focus on that, and you expand that light, and you grow that light so that it becomes the dominant force, and you just somehow push the darkness to the peripheral circumference of your attention. There is darkness in the world, and we must not ignore it. We must not pretend that everything's all right. It really isn't all right. But let it be peripheral vision with which you engage with this. Don't look at it for very long. Don't let yourself get too emotional when you're looking at it. Just notice the darkness in your peripheral attention and return immediately with a strong, loving heart to the affirmation of faith. And you will find that attracts other people who are doing that. And you will find that when there are two of you, it's easier to do that. When there's 3 or 10 or 1,000, it's just totally normal and is rather difficult to do anything else. So begin to walk a path of faith by decision. Decide to have faith. Choose to share that with others of faith. Talk positively. Think positively. And the light will shine in your life, and the darkness will be banished to the circumference of your being.